trampled.
Nobody else has it.
Earlier today, we reported the manhunt was on for Eric Holder, the alleged killer of Nipsey Hussle, the 33-year-old rapper who lost his life just a few days ago. Now it appears that manhunt has come to its conclusion, but the investigation still ongoing. Holder had been on the run for 2 days before he was captured in Bellflower, a Los Angeles area city, about 20 miles southeast of where Hussle was gunned down 2 days earlier. When Holder was ID'd and then arrested, there were many users who uploaded many videos taken in the Bellflower area, displaying several police officers around what appears to be Holder, with his hands behind his back, in handcuffs, getting patted down and searched before being placed in the police car. Now, though, we are learning much more on the woman who drove Eric Holder's Getaway car. TMZ was right on the case, and here's what they wrote. We got tipped that the car police say Holder used was taken to an auto shop last June. We found out from people connected to the shop there was a car that came in with the license plate in question. The name on the invoice was Eric Holder, along with a phone number. We called that number and a woman answered. Again, TMZ. She said she did not know Holder last June, but subsequently did get to know him, which did not add up because it appears the car is registered to either her or someone in her family, but Holder's name was on the invoice when she took it to the shop. She told us it was her car, telling TMZ, of course. She claimed she was waiting for him in the alley when he went over to Marathon Clothing Store, Nipsey Hussle's own store. She also claimed she didn't know why he was going there, and he didn't say anything when he came back to the car. There are so many holes to fill in her story, but our guy Robert Littell at BSO on Twitter, Black Sports Online, reported that the woman who drove that getaway car, who claims to have no knowledge of what was going on and potentially freaked out, wanted to clear her name. She is now in custody with the Los Angeles Police Department as well. Again, a previous video that I did mention that Charlemagne the God hit the nail on the head. Here is that part once again.
Nipsey simply didn't want him around his store. Nipsey asked him to leave, told him he couldn't be around, and Eric Holder snapped. He snapped because there's nothing more fragile on this planet than the male ego. All right, men cannot take rejection, and Nipsey telling his brother to beat it hurt his pride so much that he decided to come back and kill that man.
Eric Holder was allegedly a police informant, and Nipsey, who had recently purchased the strip mall where his shop Marathon is located and planned to redevelop it into a mixed-use commercial and residential complex, told Holder, when Holder came over, to just kick rocks. Go away from this joint of properties that Nipsey was investing in, and he was investing in much more, as I've told you about previously, Vector 90, trying to get kids off the streets, books in their hands, computers in front of their faces, trying to educate them as much as possible in science and mathematics for a better life, and just giving them and lending them that helping hand. Nipsey told him to just get away from his store, it seems, knowing that he was snitching. And that's when Holder came back, took offense, and shot Nipsey Hussle in the torso, and then once in the head. Every single outlet, though, has pointed to this tweet, and then there are many others who have pointed to the conspiracy theory of that the one that Nick Cannon is taking over now, the documentary, but the theory is that this is a government hit job. I know people want to try as hard as they can to connect the dots. Maybe this is a way of grief and grieving the loss of a loved one, someone you cared about. Maybe it's the sorrow that is being displayed to try and be a detective. We now know who it is. We know who it is. What we also know is that gun violence remains the root of all evil across this entire country. In New Zealand, there was a shooting. They banned automatic weapons. There continues to be shootings, not only in Los Angeles, not only in Chicago, not only in New York, but everywhere in the country. It is easier in this country to buy a gun than it is to get birth control or even to get your driver's license. That is the facts that we have. There's video to support it. And as Dr. Dre and MC Ren wrote, bullets flying, mothers crying, brothers dying, lying in the streets. That's why we're trying to stop it from falling apart and going to waste. But therein lies what we learned. Ego and hurt feelings cause maniacal episodes of rage that one is not strong enough to deal with and handle, so those feelings then manifest into taking another person's life. Your grief and your hatred then gets taken out and takes someone away from their own loved ones and their supporters and their family. And you know who else is not pointing to a conspiracy theory? Lauren London, his own wife. I've said this before, the best way to carry on Nipsey Hussle's legacy is to invest back in what he would have wanted you to invest into, which is education and trying to better the youth of America so they don't have to result to potentially what was the final day, moments, hours, and seconds of Nipsey Hussle's life.